October 2024. I was still new to the gym. I'd only been going for about a month when one day I saw someone in there who I recognised. It was a girl from school. Never really noticed her, but after seeing her in the gym, she ended up popping in my head a couple of times a week. And after I started seeing her everywhere, I realised I like this person. And things were kind of mutual to begin with. We made eye contact everywhere, and obviously eye contact takes two people. She tried speaking to me once, and I ended up getting more and more attached to this girl. The only problem to begin with was that we lived quite separate lives, and even though we went to the same school, that was about the only thing we had in common. And so aside from seeing each other passing by in the corridor sometimes, we never really got the chance to get close. And this brought up the first problem. It ended up becoming some sort of puzzle that my brain was trying to solve, because it kind of came across as mixed signals. And because I wanted a relationship, but I would have to work to get it, it ended up becoming a sort of goal, a mission to go on a date with her. But this ultimately turned into an obsession. I ended up thinking about her a lot. I was emotionally attached to someone who probably didn't even know my name, and we weren't close at all, but I was already imagining scenarios. I was fantasizing an entire future with her. Now, this obsession I had is what some other people would call having a crush. And so the first thing that went wrong in this entire story was that I was obsessed, and this just creates so many problems that you have to deal with. And once you're obsessed with someone, it's quite difficult to just let go of that obsession. It's like a vicious cycle. The more you think about them, the more you get obsessed, and the more obsessed you are, the more you think about them. It's almost impossible to escape, right? And there was a reason why it was so easy to get attached. And this is the second thing that went wrong. Because we weren't close, I never really got close enough to really understand her personality or much about her. My brain obviously filled in the gaps, and it obviously filled in the gaps with things I wanted her to have. So all along, this entire obsession was about someone who didn't even exist. It was just someone who had the looks of someone I saw in school. The person I fantasized being with, the person I had a crush on, they didn't exist. It was the idea of her that I had a crush on, and not her exactly. And as my mission carried on, I ended up dedicating more and more time and energy to trying to win her over. And later I would find out that this transferred into the relationship, that when I actually was with her, I was still trying to win her over. I was still trying to impress her. So if we fast forward a few months, in fact an entire year after that first time I saw her in the gym, I finally decided to message her. It was a confession. I told her the way I feel about her. I simply messaged her and said, I like you, I'd like to get to know you. And a few days later, we went on our first date. While this was amazing news to my ears, that after an entire year of just being an obsession, I finally got her to be my girlfriend, or at least something close to it. We weren't there yet. However, this first date really was a first date for her, because this was the first time she was properly seeing me, the first time she was actually considering me. You see, before that, while I was spending all these months fixated on her, she didn't think much of me. I was just another person in school, another boy. And so this was already a sort of problem to begin with. I saw her through the eyes of someone who had known her, or known the idea of her, for months, for a long time. But she didn't know anything about me, and I was new to her. And then the relationship went on. Red flags started appearing, and I ignored them because she was still an obsession and I was still emotionally invested. And as emotions do, they clouded my logic. They made me see through rose-coloured glasses, and so they completely flew past my head. And like I said, it was unbalanced because she was still considering me, but I had already decided a long time ago that she was the one. No, I ripped it. And another thing this intense emotional attachment gifted me was being too busy to realize if I really liked her or not. So as people do when they've just met someone, she was trying to figure out if she liked me. She was still learning more about me, and she wasn't so set on being with me yet because obviously she didn't know enough. But me, on the other hand, I completely forgot about actually looking to see if she was the right one for me, because I'd already made that decision a long time ago before I even knew anything about her. And so 2 months after I sent that message, and after a week of not being together or whatever teenagers do, it ended for real. And this brings me to the last point, that if she was a crush to start and you were emotionally invested before she was, chances are she will never be as invested in you as you are in her. Especially with the dynamic I was in, because I was already fully attached at the start, it probably turned her off and pushed her away, and she never got the chance to get close. Or maybe she just could never get as close, because for me, it wasn't just her that I was into, it was the puzzle, it was the obsession, it was this person I'd pedestalized for a year. And that is why you shouldn't ask out your crush, because what I've learned through my experiences is that starting a relationship when you're already attached like I was, it's futile. There's honestly no point. So while I have given you reasons to not ask them out, that's not my intention with this video. Instead, I want you to still do something like I did, where you confess your feelings, but you got to approach it differently. If you are emotionally obsessed with them, or whatever I was, don't enter the relationship that way, because it will mess things up for you. So what I want you to do, instead of just asking them out when you're obsessed, is you're still going to obviously ask them out. Like, why wouldn't you? But once they say yes, you can't dedicate every single living moment to them. You can't always be messaging them. You can't always be planning dates and thinking about them. You have to have a life outside of them, because you're only fueling the obsession by always fixating your attention on them, even when they're not there. So I don't care how you do it. If you have a schedule or whatever, Monday you can think about them, and Tuesday you have to go hang out with friends and you can't message them. Or maybe do something like, you can only use texting for plans. Just find a system that works where you're not always thinking about them. So that's the takeaway of this video. Not that you should never ask out your crush, and not that having an obsession with them is going to ruin your entire future. No, is that if you're unfortunate enough to find yourself in a situation where I was, then you're going to have to be a lot more conscientious. Then you're going to have to be a lot more conscientious. Then you're going to have to be a lot more conscientious about how often you think about them and how much attention you dedicate to them. So that's it. That's what I've got for you today. Go ask them out. If there's someone who you like, I'm asking you now, go message them. It's honestly easy. 1 to 2 sentences. All you have to do is just say, I like you, or I've noticed you around, or I'd like to take you to get a coffee with me. You're just overthinking. Don't be scared, ask them out, and then hopefully the rest is history. Oh, bye-bye.